Hello, and a huge welcome to Career Circle's resume workshop highlighting your skills. If you've ever felt like your most valuable skills are getting overlooked by employers, this webinar is for you. My name is Brittany Knowles. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the Learning and Development Specialist here at Career Circle, where skills go to work. I have black hair and a natural hairstyle today with brown eyes and clear cat-eyed glasses. I am wearing a dark polo, and I'm so delighted to be able to talk to you about this amazing topic on today. Today, we're going to be pulling back the curtain on effective resume formatting, keyword optimization using applicant tracking systems, and showing you how to ethically and effectively use AI to generate a resume that truly highlights your accomplishments. Get ready to transform your job search and learn the practical tools you need to stand out from the competition. Now, just a few housekeeping things, all right? We are currently recording this webinar to ensure accessibility for all participants. You can also enable closed captioning via your browser. We recommend using Google Chrome, where you can click on the three dots in the upper right-hand corner, click on settings, and then accessibility. And then you may refer to the screenshot in the presentation, which references a breakdown of instructions on how to access closed captioning on different browsers in the content section to your right, or reach out to one of our esteemed and awesome colleagues, my colleagues, Career Circle employees in the tech support booth in the lobby that will be happy to assist you. All right. So how to access today's resources. Now, let me just say, we get tons of questions throughout these conversations about how to access resources, or are we going to be able to get the recording? All of the resources that are discussed today and more can be located on the content tab near the people and discussion feed to your right. All right. All resources and the recording will be emailed to you after the event as well. So please make sure to watch until the end, as our amazing panelists has a wealth of knowledge to share. And by panelists, they mean me. I shouldn't be saying that I'm amazing, but I guess maybe I am. As well as one of my wonderful colleagues, Noah, will be joining us towards the end to really get in depth with you all on the QA. So as we get started, let's have you scan the QR code. Before we get started with the presentation, you can open this on your phone, share your feedback with us. We'll be doing a raffle with all respondents, and one of you will win a Career Circle tote bag. The winner will be contacted next Thursday, February the 19th. If you miss it, no worries. We'll send the survey in our post email as well. But if you want to give us your thoughts during the event, we'd love to hear from you. Now, with that being said, y'all, let's get started. Ooh, I'm excited. Okay. So I'm going to start with a question, all right? And I'm already seeing you all in the chat saying hello to me. Hello, Casey. Hello, Felicia, Makiba, Prakash, Raul. Hello to you all. So I want you all to use those same fingers and answer this question for me. What is your biggest challenge when writing or updating your resume? Talk to me. What is your biggest challenge when writing or updating your resume? I'd love to hear from you. All right. So I see Lena said getting started, overwhelmed. Well, listen, today we're going to change that. All right. We're going to be like Nike and just do it. Okay. Absolutely. 100%. Dennis said knowing how to make it stand out and get through the applicant tracking system. Absolutely. How to pass through the applicant tracking systems or filters. 100%. For me, what data should I pull? What is relevant? Yes, Jess. Figuring out how to position my pivot. Oh, I like the way you even put that, positioning my pivot. Absolutely. Prioritizing the experience that's most relevant to the specific role. Absolutely. Tailoring it. Absolutely. Making sure the resume does not go over one page. I got some good news for you today. We got some updated information from my colleagues. And so we're going to be talking about that very shortly. Getting past AI screening And I see someone said, can you repeat that again? My apologies. I am not exactly sure what I would need to repeat, but I welcome you. I welcome you to today's webinar where we're going to be talking through some things. And the question that I have been reading the responses from are, what is your biggest challenge when writing or updating your resume? I see from Felicia. Felicia said, making sure to update my skills. All right, so I got some really, really, really good responses for that question. So let's get into it. So we're going to start with formatting your resume. And so first and foremost, we want to look at experience, education, and your skills. All right. And so what you want to do is make sure that you're painting the picture. A resume is bait that you're wanting to put out the bait for you to be able to be pulled into the roles that are going to work best for you, that work-life balance that's going to support you and your goals and endeavors. And so we want to make sure that we're tailoring that to do just that. So for that individual that said, I get stuck because I'm trying to fit all of this awesomeness into one page, I've got news for you. On the second bullet, it says, 2-page resumes are okay when you have 10 plus years of experience. Okay. And so you definitely, that is one of those things that come up rather often, trying to determine what is relevant, as well as making sure that the time frame in which you're putting that experience is going to be beneficial. Oftentimes individuals try to put everything they've ever done in life on a resume, but we want to make sure that we're tailoring our resume to fit specifically what the role is that we are applying for. On that third bullet, it speaks to utilizing a professional email address. Okay, what do I mean by that? Utilizing your name for your email address is one of the ways in which it can be professional. I will tell you, at one point in my life, I worked in higher education, and I would tell my students, Tweety Bird 1983 is not a professional email address, all right? And so we want to try to avoid email addresses that we use for personal use. We want to have an email address that is going to be professional, is going to give the impression that you want to give off in a professional setting. Okay. Number 4, punctuation and grammar. Now, y'all, why is this important? If you look down at the bottom, that blurb, the average recruiter looks at a resume about 7 to 8 seconds. And so it's a big red flag for a recruiter if they see your resume and it is full of punctuation errors as well as grammatical errors. It'll be sent to chapter 39. Okay, that's one of the sayings that me and my colleagues use. Basically, the trash. Okay, if when you look at a role that is sought after, that has a competitive salary, that sort of thing. Many times these roles have a lot of individuals that are applying for it. And so they try to find small things to be able to get through those applications. And you don't want for a small thing like a comma or a misspelling to be the reason why your resume is excluded. Now, when we're talking about experience, you want to put your experience in reverse chronological order. And so the most recent experience that you have should be up at the top. And then as you go further down, those are the experiences that you have had in the past. Okay. And then you want to make sure not to add personal information. So anything that you wouldn't want broadcasted or posted across the entirety of social media or whatever, you don't want to put on your resume. You want to keep it to the specifics that are required to be able to respond to you. You don't want to put any information that could be misused. Any questions on this before I move to the next slide? All right. I'm not seeing any. And so I am going to move right on along to the next slide. So some of you all, um, as we were talking through what are some of the challenges that you all are facing in terms of resumes, one of the things that I saw that came up a number of times were ATSs or applicant tracking systems. Now, I recognize that we have individuals that are on this call that have a range of experience, a range of knowledge, and you may not be as familiar with the acronym ATS, or even me saying the actual words applicant tracking system. Maybe you don't know what that means. And so I want to define it for you. An applicant tracking system is software for recruiters and employers to track candidates throughout the recruiting and hiring process. And so what it does, it looks for certain keywords and things in order to differentiate candidates to be able to more efficiently get through however many applicants a employer may receive for a specific role. Okay. And so one of the questions that was asked was specifically about how to get through, get their application through when an applicant tracking system is utilized. And so we're going to talk through some of the ways in which you can do that. And then as well as we are looking at how to utilize applicant tracking systems, keywords, those specific keywords, you want to make sure that there is a flow to it. And so as we're talking through, I'm going to be talking to you about what words are some keywords that you're going to want to incorporate as part of your resume, but you just don't want to Christmas tree your resume with all kinds of words, these keywords that we're going to be talking about, and is not relevant to the rest of the sentence. Or I'm going to add these keywords that I feel like would align with the role, but your experience isn't relevant. You want to make sure that it flows. Those keywords that are being added is going to flow with the rest of your resume. So with that being said, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not at all, 5 being you are the subject area expert on the space, how confident are you right now in optimizing your resume for an applicant tracking system? How confident are you? I'm seeing 2, 3. Okay, CL, I'm going to give you the microphone so that you can teach this since you're at a 5. I see Heather is at a 3. Dennis is at a 1. Dennis, we're going to bring you up, sir. We have a 3. Ronald, I see a 4. Excellent, excellent. So we have a range in terms of our audience when it comes down to your confidence. I hope that I am able to, myself, as well as my amazing colleague who will be gracing us with his presence in about 30 minutes, we'll be able to help to boost those numbers up for you. All right. And so let's talk through some additional things that we want to make sure that we're incorporating as part of your resume. And so one of those key components is highlighting your soft versus hard skills. What are soft skills? I'm glad that you asked. It's interpersonal skills that are more personal and nuanced. They're essential for career success, but harder to measure. And so things like problem solving, leadership, ability to work well with others, those interpersonal things, things about your personality, your ability to adapt to change, your amenability, your relatability, how you build rapport, all of those are those soft skills. Okay. Then you have hard skills, specific teachable abilities that can be measured and quantified. They're usually job specific and require technical proficiency. So that could be coding, that could be data analysis, that could be working in what your KPRs or OKRs are. It could be you being able to utilize certain software, being able to analyze certain things. It could be a number of things that are specific to the industry and that are specific to the role that you are applying for. And so, as we are going through, you're going to see a thread of examples that are given where you're going to be able to incorporate AI to be able to truly support you in making sure that your resume is balanced. And so, if we are wanting to utilize AI to support us in being able to highlight those soft versus hard skills, you can provide a list or ask AI to provide a list of my top skills for this particular resume, and then copy and paste your professional experience from your resume with the prompt so that it can identify some of those key skills for you. All righty. And so that is a way that you can utilize AI as a tool to be able to help you in showcasing the talent that you have and the skills that you have for the roles that you're going to be applying for. Okay, so what to include on your resume? We want to utilize that summary up at the top. That summary is going to be a small 2 to 3 sentence blurb of who you are, what you've done, how you did it, how you and your experience align with the role that you are looking at applying for. Your professional experience is what roles that you have previously had in that reverse chronological order. And when you're doing those professional experience pieces, you're going to want to make sure that you are truly identifying the specific things that you did in your previous role that align with the role that you are applying for. You're going to make sure that you include your education as well as relevant skills for that specific role. One of the methods that has been very beneficial when incorporating different methodology for creating your resume is the who method. And so as you are doing your resume, you want to make sure that you're using who, W, what you did, H, how you did it, O, the outcome of that. And so you want to try to make sure that as you are putting this together, that you're using action verbs. So remember I said earlier that you're going to want to utilize certain language. I don't just want you to put this language haphazardly. You're going to want to make sure that as you're using these action verbs in terms of your professional experience, that you're making sure that it flows with the rest of that sentence. And so action verbs such as drives, conducts, demonstrates, streamlined, oversaw, supports, etc. Those are examples of some action verbs that you absolutely want to ensure that you utilize when you are putting down your experience. For each role, you want to try to stick ideally with minimum 3 bullet points. You want to try to land in the sweet spot of 5 to 6. If it's more than that, it needs to make sure that each and every single one of them align specifically with the role. If you're going to take up more space, it needs to truly hit. It needs to truly align so that it's worth the space on your resume. And again, can't stress enough the importance of consistency with your format, your tense, as well as your punctuation. And when I say tense, I mean I demonstrated or for let's just say you're in a current position, you're going to be using I currently do blankety blank. If we're talking about something that was past tense where you're no longer in the position, you're going to utilize language that is past tense. Now, there are certain individuals that when they are updating their resume, they forget to make prior experience in the past tense. And so it looks like based on the language that you're still in that particular role. And so it's an oversight. You want to make sure that your dates align with the tense that you're using when you are sharing the experience that you have. Okay. And so your resume format. And so again, you want to incorporate a header. And so that should be at the top of your resume, and it transfers to every page. Now, you see how at the top of this page, it says resume format. For the header that I have on my resume, where it says resume format, that would be my name and maybe a link to my LinkedIn, or whatever the case may be. And then it has that line. So that's how I format the header on my resume, and it aligns with the remaining pages that I have as part of my resume. Okay. Professional summary. A professional summary should include keywords that you would use to describe yourself, along with a brief description of your experience and the job title that you are targeting. That's going to let individuals know that you aren't utilizing a general resume when your professional summary, as well as the information that is in the body of your resume, aligns with the role that you are seeking. That absolutely gives you a one up, that this is something that you have researched, and that is the resume is tailored to the role that you are applying for. The skills summary. So located between your header and your experience section, contains all skills: technical, soft skills, interpersonal skills, certifications. It should be easily readable, as well as bulleted and columned. And then where it says your professional experience, you're going to want to make sure that it's formatted with action, which is what your responsibilities currently are, or what your experience was in your previous role, your tasks. And so what tools, processes, software, techniques, skills you utilize in order to complete the task. And then results. When you completed the task, what was the result? Can you quantify it? Okay. So if we're going to incorporate AI to support us in making sure that this is the most relevant and it puts you in the best light, a prompt that you can use for AI would be: write a 3 to 4 sentence professional summary for my resume using strong action verbs with this text. And you're going to copy and paste your skills, your professional experience and education, and it's going to give you back a wonderful professional summary. But you want to make sure that as you are getting this information back, that you are editing it to for it to sound like yourself, for you to edit it to make sure that it's not giving off that this was copied and pasted. You want to make sure that it is something, again, you want to use AI as a supplement to support you, as opposed to you using it as a blanket a tool that you're able to copy and paste. Because that when you're a recruiter that sees a ton of resumes, if you're utilizing the same software, resumes can sometimes start to look alike. So you want to make sure that you're differentiating yourself from other individuals, and you're personalizing it. That's absolutely going to serve you well. And here is an example of what that looks like. Okay. So cleaned and transformed. That's that action verb. You want to start again, as was mentioned in the previous slide, you want to start with an action verb, and not just cleaned, but remember, demonstrated, led, that sort of thing. Those are the action verbs that you want to start your bullets with for your professional experience. Then you want to move over into tasks. So for this particular example, cleaned and transformed a large database for analysis. So that is what you did. And then the largest part, the result. So not just that this was what you were assigned, but how did you master this? I'm glad you asked. I did this and reduced data processing time by 30% and improved overall data quality for subsequent analysis. And so there are two ways that you could use AI to support you in your efforts with editing your professional experience. Prompt 1, rewrite my bullet points to show measurable achievements using strong action verbs for my specific resume. And then you want to copy and paste your bullet points from your current resume, one job at a time. And that's going to help you to be able to get this in this type of format. And then for prompt 2, the second example of a prompt that you can use that can help you with your professional experience and those bullets and putting it in this format would be write 3 to 6 bullet points using measurable achievements and strong action verbs for the specific job title that you're looking at applying for. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about now is best practices when using AI prompts. Okay, so I want to make sure that you all are aware. We will give you specific prompt examples later in the presentation, and you can locate those in the resource section in the content tab. All right. So with that being said, we're going to be talking through understanding and analyzing your job descriptions, optimizing your resume with keywords, tailoring your resume for each role or job, and crafting a compelling cover letter. So as we're talking through analyzing job descriptions to land your dream job, we want to look at how to identify those skills and qualifications and incorporating those hard skills, soft skills, and experience. And so as you are looking at how you can incorporate AI when it comes down to the job description and your resume, what I've done in the past as a job seeker was I attached my resume and attached my job description and asked AI to help me to pull experience from my resume that aligned with the job description, because that's going to be the best way to ensure that you're using the language, some of those keywords that they may be utilizing to differentiate you within the applicant tracking system, that sort of thing. You want to the job description gives you insight into the role and into what the company values. And so looking at those job descriptions is going to give you insight into, again, the company values, some key responsibilities for the role that you are interested in applying for, and then some keywords that may be utilized as part of the industry, recognizing that every single industry has its own language. And so especially if you're going into a role that is maybe different, maybe you're shifting into another industry, that sort of thing, being able to see what those keywords are that are used within the industry will serve you well. And you'll be able to speak to that if you're able to pull this from the job description and maybe, do your research so that if it is spoken during the meeting, that you aren't caught off guard. And when I say meeting, I mean interview, because that's what's going to happen when you're able to optimize your resume. I'm speaking into existence that you are going to get a invitation to be able to do an interview. And so you absolutely want to be able to speak the language of the individuals that you're hoping to become a part of. Okay, so here we have some resume prompts that you could utilize in AI to help you with this. And so the first one, you can tell AI, and someone really quick in the chat, can someone give me a specific job title? I'll use that and put that in the place of title. Someone quick, give me a job title, y'all. All right, cloud developer. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so write a resume based on this cloud developer position at ABC company and include bullet point achievements that show impact and metrics. And then you want to copy and paste that job description right on in there. All right. The second, write a tailored resume for this project manager. Thank you, Jess. This project manager role at ABC company. Include a professional summary, my past 10 years of work experience with a 3 to 5 bullet point per role, and incorporate the most important keywords from the job description in those achievements. And then you're going to copy and paste that job description. And then based on, Ruben, based on this job description for a web developer role at ABC company, write a resume for my past 10 years of work experience with 3 to 5 bullet points per role that include metrics and the most important 10 keywords from the job description. My past titles and companies were X, Y, and Z. No need to include an objective statement, and you're going to copy and paste the job description. All right. So this is really key. We're giving you all the keys to the kingdom when it comes down to these prompts. These have been shown to be extremely helpful. All right. So talk to me. How often should you customize your resume for each job application? Talk to me. Is it A, always? Is it B, sometimes? Is it C, never? Let me know if you was listening to me and I taught you something. What are we thinking? I'm seeing some A's. All right. I don't see, let me see. Let me make sure that I didn't miss anybody because maybe somebody said sometimes. All right, y'all make me proud. 2 snaps for you. Absolutely. You should absolutely customize your resume for each job description. I'm sorry, for each job application. It should happen always. And one of the things someone told me that was incredibly beneficial for me as a job seeker, as you are in your job, you should be including all of the different things that you are doing for your job while you're doing your job. You should be updating your resume as you have new experiences. So if there are certain projects that you've been called to do that maybe weren't, some of the things that you were initially set to do or wasn't part of your job description initially, you want to make sure that you're putting that in your resume. Oftentimes, we look at experiences as a whole and we forget about all of the different nuanced things that could really showcase how you've been able to adapt, you've been able to learn new skills, you've been able to do new projects. And so even as you are at a specific role, as you have these new experiences, as you get upskilled and have opportunities for credits or credentials or certifications, you want to make sure that you're updating your resume all the time. Because if you're anything like me, my memory is the worst. Okay. And so I could be doing 10 million amazing things and remember 10. And so as I'm giving you that information, I'm keeping it for myself as well to make sure that you are documenting the different things that you are doing well. All right. And that you're utilizing that as part of your resume and incorporating that into your resume, because those are those pieces that show that the outcome, that shows this was the task and this is what I was able to accomplish with that task. Okay. All right. So tailoring your resume for each job. It's recommended that you have several resumes tailored for each specific job type. And you should have at least 2 to 3 resumes that are tailored for specific job applications. And so if, for instance, you have, if you're in the technology space, you may have had experience in generalized IT, and then you may have web developer experience, and then you may have UX experience. And so if you have 3 different kinds of experience, you want to have a resume that aligns with those specific tools that are important for those roles. And so at the very least, you have it that way, where you have resumes that are tailored to specific skill sets that you have. Okay. This is absolutely going to increase your chances of being noticed by employers. And as you do this, this will help even with those ATS systems, because certain keywords, if you are putting all of the experience that you have that may be diverse into one document, it can look segmented, or it can cause issues when it's going through the applicant tracking system. So this could be beneficial to tailor it for those industries. And then if you're being really good, tailoring it specifically for specific roles. Okay. And so tailoring your resume prompts. And so we have 3 options for you. And y'all give me one moment while I take one quick little drink. All right. So option number 1, tailor my resume to this job description for a web developer role at ABC company. And then you want to copy and paste your current resume and the job description. That's your first option. Your second option, using the resume and job description below, showcase 10 relevant skills I should highlight. And then you're going to copy and paste your current resume and the job description. And then the third, here's my current resume. How would you rewrite it if you're applying to this UX role at ABC company? Include metrics and the achievements, and then you're going to copy and paste your resume and the job description. Now I am looking at the time, and because I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to ask the subject area expert, the guru that are all things resume, some of your pointed questions. I want you to start putting some questions into the chat for me, because I'm almost to the end of my section. And so I want to make sure that you all are having the opportunity to get those burning questions out, so that my wonderful colleague Noah can provide you with some really good insight. All right. All right. So make sure you're getting those questions in the chat, everyone. Okay. So you want to avoid the pitfalls of resume writing with AI. And so, as we've mentioned before, AI is not a replacement for you. And so you want to use it as a supplement. And so you still need, as it says in bold, to create specific prompts or requests that will help you. The key word is assist or help you customize each part of your resume. It's important to be as specific as possible. If you are not putting the information in that is specific to you, it will generalize, and then your resume will potentially get lost in the shuffle because it looks like everyone else's that may be utilizing the same tools that you are. You want to include enough context for the prompt. And so including your resume, including the job description is always going to be really beneficial to make sure that you're not getting something that's too generalized and not as tailored to the specific role. And then trying different prompts and mixing and matching to find what works best for you. Recognizing that none of this, there is no perfect science to this. There is no one prompt that you'll be able to use that is always going to work every time. There may be a time that it gives you back something that is not all, the most relevant. And so you want to make sure that if it's missing something, say, hey, can you please exclude this portion, or can you add this portion, or whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're being as strategic as possible when you are utilizing when you're utilizing AI to support, to support you being able to improve upon your resume. Okay. So our final reflection, AI being your partner in success. Using AI to help you with your resume can be a huge time saver, but it should not be a substitute. So I have said this is the third time that this has come up. AI should not be used as a blanket tool. It should absolutely be a supplement. It should absolutely be an assist. You want to absolutely make sure that you're double checking everything and editing any content that you are getting generated by AI before submitting it. Y'all, I cannot tell you enough rushing. I have sent things to my colleagues as I was, incorporating some things in working with AI. And then at the bottom, it says, in the correspondence that I've sent, would you like for me to add blankety blank? If I want you to learn from me so that you don't make the same mistakes that I have made in my past, make sure that you read all the way down. Make sure you're double checking everything before you submit anything. Those small key pieces could be the difference between um, uh, you being the applicant or you being your application not going through. So you definitely want to make sure that you're putting your very best foot forward. All right. So with that, I have a question for you. What is one thing you plan to change on your resume after being with me for the last 40 minutes? What is one thing you plan to change on your resume? I'd love to hear from you. Ah, okay, I see. Felicia said the format rules, said the format. Peter said possibly less bullet points. Okay. Okay, I see. Lauren said add less bullet points. Okay. I'm seeing adding metrics. I'm seeing using the template in the content section and added bullet points under each job role. Less bullet points. My summary statement, professional summary and current status, the who method. OMG, that makes me so happy. That lets me know that you were listening. I love it. Okay, y'all. Without further ado, the man of the next 20 minutes, none other than my amazing, wonderful, fantastic colleague, Noah. Noah, we would love to hear from you in the QA.
Absolutely, Brittany. What an intro. I need you on a lot more of my calls. Just huge round of applause to you and all the energy and guidance and knowledge you bring to us. So yeah, a lot of great questions in the chat. We'll kind of just work through, from the top. So starting, with some of the more specific questions. Says some folks recommended adding numbers to your resume, like increase efficiency by 30% or reduce cost by 25%. How do we achieve this if we don't have these numbers available? It says I've been a software developer for 30 years, but I have never had a good way to quantify that data. So, such a wonderful question, and I think based on some of the advisory research that I was able to come in, I would always say it's okay. I think our best spot here is to provide those quantifiable metrics if at all possible. So digging into our experience and really thinking about that. But if you're not able to provide that, I think here are some best use cases that are still going to guide, our resume formatting to make sure that we really capture our experience level. So we'll provide a few different examples here. One being a professional summary, some experience that you can highlight in your resume as like a bullet, and then why this works. So, talking about your intro summary could be a seasoned software developer with 3 decades of experience designing, building, and maintaining business critical applications across evolving technology stacks, known for programmatic problem solving, long term system stewardship, and mentoring engineers through multiple generations of tools and architectures. Really going to showcase your seniority and how much time you've invested into this industry as well. But I think some good bullet points that we can focus on are, designing and maintaining complex, long-lived software systems, ensuring stability, scalability, and continuity in technologies, teams, and business requirements. Speaking to some of those action verbs, led development efforts across multiple programming languages and platforms, adapting legacy systems while introducing modern design patterns and development practices. So I think there's a good way to showcase again your seniority and um, overall how much time that you've really invested into this and why this works even without metrics. The action is clear. We've designed, we've led, we've partnered, guided, mentored, and supported. The impact, or really that H of who, the impact is implied through responsibility, speaking to long-lived systems, enterprise environments, architectural decisions, and production support. And then please, something I want to really call to attention: seniority is unmistakable. You're the technical anchor, institutional knowledge, long-term system stewardship, multiple generations of tools and architecture. So give yourself some credit and be able to speak to that, and not to shy away from coming in with years and years of experience. Um, One thing I did want to mention here as well is we're talking about, um, hiring managers expect from at least the advisory research I've been able to come across. Hiring managers really expect fewer hard metrics from senior developers, especially those who work before modern analytics, maintain systems rather than launch greenfield products, or operated in regulated or enterprise environments. So, Brittany, happy to let that marinate a little bit, but if there's any follow up or response, I'm super happy to dive deeper.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Noah. There is an additional question from someone. They said, I have a challenge quantifying my role in a resume. How is that possible to achieve a startup, for example, saying that I increased sales by 34%?
Yeah, I think it's really going to come back to the impact you were able to drive in that. It's a really excellent and very real question. Um, and I think it's okay to kind of feel that skepticism, around increasing sales by 34%. It says, really you don't have to or often should not use precise growth percentages unless you can clearly justify them. So really, here's a good, grounded, ethical, I would say recruiter approved way to think about this qualification in startups without making numbers or undermining credibility. So why startup mixtures are tricky? Recruiters know in startups baselines are unstable and undefined. Revenue attribution is fuzzy, growth is multi-casual, data systems may not exist yet. So a good way to, of what not to do. What quantifying actually means broader than numbers. You can also, quantification isn't percentages only. You can quantify scope, scale, complexity, and ownership. And I really think this drives home really where we were speaking to that seniority aspect of what you were, really what you were focused on and ability to impact. Um, so Yeah, I would say I think it's really leaning in our first, and a good segue. It's really focusing on the scale and impact. If you don't have hard quantifiable metrics that you can back up with your work, I think focusing on your ownership, scope, and impact is really a key here.
Absolutely. One of our other attendees asked, how can I leverage skills in parallel industries to show relevant skills?
Yes. Yeah, I think super powerful, and underused resume strategy here, especially for career changers, long tenured professionals, and people move between adjacent fields. So start with the skill and not the job title. We as recruiters, we really screen for capabilities, aptitude for success, not industry labels. Instead of thinking I worked in industry A, now I want to work in industry B, we're focused on reframing that to industry A requires the same core skills industry B values. So these, across almost every industry, some of the common transferable skill categories are going to be problem solving and analysis, stakeholder management, process improvement, risk and compliance awareness, systems thinking, project delivery, customer client focus, technical literacy. Um, and then translate industry specific language. So, really just focusing on, let's say industry A focuses on clients, industry B and the equivalent is stakeholders or users. So we're finding that commonality between what we have done in our current industry and what jargon industry B is using. So a couple other examples, industry A uses cases, industry B tickets or requests, industry A regulations, industry B compliance and requirements. Um, I always say this, and it comes back to really trusting in what you and the type of asset you can be to the organization, and never downplaying that what you've done in your current work and how you can be successful in this next journey.
Absolutely. This next question I want to ask for myself because When I see CV, I think of an academic, because that's absolutely the kind of resume that I would have to have, one that's more than 2 pages or so. So the question is, I have 10 plus years of experience and a full CV with publications. Go ahead, whoever that is. I have my skills on the first page, wondering about creating a transferable skills section to try to help match my skills with skills to positions I would be applying to. Wondering if that would be good to do or not.
Such a wonderful question. Had to do some digging on this one as well. I think as we look at senior level roles, the whole keeping your resume to a 2 page is almost impossible, especially for at that director plus level, manager plus even. It's okay to extend your experience, especially if you've been working in the ranks, and it showcases your and how much you evolved in the industry or in this specific role. So short answer, yes, a transferable skills section can be very effective for someone with 10 plus years of experience, but only if it's done deliberately and doesn't duplicate your existing skills section. So a few examples, really transferable skills section is helpful when you're applying across adjacent industries or roles. Your experience is deep but specialized, again, academia, research, regulated industries, legacy tech. You want to guide the reader to see relevance quickly. So you're worried reviewers may not actually connect the dots. So that's kind of really where it is helpful. And when it's not helpful, if it's repetitive, if we're seeing these same existing skill sets from, your point, directly under our summary or education, and then our extended is really repetitive in nature, or if it's generic, communication, teamwork, etc., and it's not clearly tied to the target roles either. Um, so I hope that helps and at least touched on some of it. There's some other guidance here, like where you would want to put that for your profile. Most common and effective immediately after your professional summary, before experience. If page one is crowded, after your summary, replacing the supplemental standard skills list. Avoid placing it after your publications or near the end of the document, and then as a replacement for experience bullets. So we definitely want to call to attention and see those relevant skills, or extended skills rather, without giving that recruiter enough time to get there and notice those skills.
Oh, that was good, Noah. That was real good. What are your thoughts on a summary? I'm usually not a fan, but is there a time when summaries are helpful in adding in language with ATS tracking?
So funny. I always say trust your gut. Sometimes it leads me astray, but your instinct is very strong most of the time, and it's actually very healthy. So um, I'd say most summaries are not that great, right? We want it to be very intentional, and I'll fall back to that word, very frequently. But there are specific cases when a summary is genuinely useful. I do think a summary is really beneficial to have a quick elevator pitch of you, what you've done, your industry expertise, and then that next role that you're targeting. I think it's always very important, and it's going to pull into that tailoring your resume to that next role. But really, a clear decision framework, not a blanket yes or no here. So I know we're going to sit in the middle and on the fence for a little, but resume summaries are helpful when they act as a translation layer. They front load role relevant language, reduce cognitive load for the interviewer, and then reinforce ATS keyword matching without keyword stuffing. So again, we're still going to tailor. We're going to focus on making sure our resume has those specific keywords towards that role in our summary. But some things we want to make sure and mitigate are, for our summary, are generic. Are these summaries generic or buzzwordy? Repeat what's obvious from the resume. So we do want to have something that draws me in a little bit further to your specific, skill set or profile of what you're bringing to the table. And then also just making sure that we're not wasting prime real estate based on a 10-sentence summary. So I think a nice 3 to 5 sentence overview of, again, your experience, expertise, and then what role you're targeting is really healthy and beneficial from a summary standpoint.
Absolutely. We have time for one more, Noah.
Cool.
Last question of the hour. I was always told never to use personal language like I or me, etc. in the resume. Is that still true or is it industry specific?
Yeah, this is a really great question. I think you touched on it, throughout the webinar is taking out the I or me, and then, so short answer, I would say yes. That guidance is still true in almost all use cases. Longer, more useful answers, it's less about the old rules or more about the resumes are read by both humans and systems, right? So really focusing on, a good example is led cross-functional initiatives to improve workflow efficiency. It's still signaling that you did this and you put it into practice without saying I led cross-functional initiatives to improve my team's workflow efficiency. So I would say again, it's to answer that question with a yes or a no. That guidance still stands true. We'll want to remove the I, me, or my within those specific bullet points.
You are amazing. Thank you, Noah, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. We've got big opportunities for learning and winning. Enter our career building giveaway. We're giving away a $150 Target gift card and a 30-minute one-on-one with a recruiter. Now, y'all, do you know what I could do with $150 at Target? I would be going ham. Then the steps to enter this giveaway. You want to enroll and start a course. Make sure you are enrolling and starting. If you just enroll, you haven't done all the steps, all right? So you're going to enroll in and start a course. Then you're going to go to LinkedIn, the LinkedIn link, and comment your 2026 goals. You can get started now by scanning the QR code on the slide. All righty. And with that, thank you all so much for joining today's workshop. I hope you all are leaving here feeling truly empowered to use these tools in your job search. Please stay until the very end. I have some important information for you. So please take a few moments to complete our post-webinar survey, which will be included in the follow-up email. One winner will be contacted on Thursday, February the 19th, and will receive a limited edition Career Circle tote bag. You also want to follow us on social media to stay connected. It's going to give you access to additional resources. You're going to be able to learn about upcoming workshops, career fairs, and networking events. These two on the screen are just some of the many impactful events we have in store. Register by going to www.careercircle.com/events. We'll also be sharing a recording of today's webinar along with all resources mentioned in that same follow-up email. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of the Career Circle community. We look forward to seeing you all next time. And Noah, you are amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, everyone. Bye-bye.